Hello and welcome to ASB TDC TV, a product of a partnership between the University of Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center and the Northwest Arkansas Council Small Business Emergency Assistance Program. In this series, we're talking with small businesses, experts, and ASB TDC consultants about the relevant and right now topics and solutions for business. I'm Amy Robinson.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Case, and we are here today with Mollie from Experience Fayetteville and Kalene from Visit Bentonville. So, Mollie, I'm going to actually pass it over to you first. If you could tell us a little bit, not only about yourself, but kind of what you're up to right now and what Experience Fayetteville is all about.
Got it. Thank you, Chris. So I am an Arkansas native and have lived in Fayetteville for nearly 15 years. And am the CEO of the Fayetteville Advertising and Promotion Commission. In that role, I oversee the Fayetteville Town Center, the Clinton House Museum, but primarily most of my focus is overseeing Experience Fayetteville. We are the Convention and Visitors Bureau for the city, and so we are responsible for increasing and having a positive impact on economic development through tourism. So bringing people to town, having them dine at our restaurants and stay in our hotels and experience all that Fayetteville and the region really have.
That's amazing.
Great. Kalene, I'm going to pass it over to you next so we can just kind of get a brief understanding of you two lovely ladies.
You bet. Kalene Griffith, and I'm with Visit Bentonville. I'm the president and CEO of Visit Bentonville. And our mission is to brand, promote, and sell Bentonville as a tourism destination that stimulates the economic development. And our focus is bringing people into the community that experience our hotels and our restaurants and our arts and our trails. So we're trying to tell the story of Bentonville to the rest of the world on a regular basis. Mollie has a lot of other focuses. I do not in Bentonville. Ours is really about the hotels and restaurants and our attractions. She has a much bigger role from a convention center or town center and some projects like that. So we have a couple different things that are different, but we do work a lot together because of our focus on the region.
Absolutely. Well, and that's exactly why we brought you together today, because you're the bookends of our region, and although you are representing different cities, really we're talking about some regional impact. And tourism and hospitality have been hit very hard during COVID, and so we definitely want to hear about what's happening in both of your cities, but also what's happening regionally. Within ASB TDC, we noticed that restaurants were a really big topic and of a lot of concern, and we worked a lot with them in some of the early months of COVID. They were some of the frontline workers when things started to reopen a little bit. And so tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in your individual cities, as well as what some of the regional efforts that are potentially supporting restaurants, and then we'll talk about some of the other tourism and hospitality industries.
Mollie, do you want to start, or do you want me to?
You go ahead, and then I'll follow. You go first.
Sure. I think one of the things that we focused on is trying to help our restaurants by just our focus changed for 3 months. We were not allowed to bring people into our community, so our job was to really focus on promoting local, selling local, getting people to use the restaurants. Even though they couldn't go in, they could do the drive-in or dine-in, or carry out at this point. And so that was really our focus for about 2.5 months. And then when restaurants really started opening up, we started kind of still doing support the local business, support the local industry from a lot of different aspects. And the nice thing is, and I think Amy, we talked a little bit about before this, that we're seeing that trend up and for us every month. It is still a negative, but if we can continue to look at it trending in a positive manner, I think that's our focus. And from January to July, on our restaurant collections, this is just the 1% tax collections. We're negative 17%, versus, in May, we were a negative 44%. So over those few months, January, February, and March helped us because they were all positive, and then we had some negatives, but we're seeing that trend into a less negative is how we can look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully our restaurants are seeing that we're kind of turning the corner. I think people are feeling more safe. I think the mask ordinance statewide really helped people feel a a little bit more safe when they visited those restaurants. We implemented our Bentonville Be Safe, Be Smart, kind of guiding people to wear the mask about 2 months ago prior to that. And so that was really a big initiative from Visit Bentonville and our local leaders in our community. It was not just one organization, it was multiple organizations that led that effort. So I think we're seeing those that impact into our industry and making people feel safe. And that's the number one thing. I think people are traveling, they want to feel safe. People are going into restaurants. And I think Mollie said it earlier that people are starting to feel more comfortable going into those locations and those destinations as we continue to see the trend going up at this point. Mollie?
Yeah, you know, Mollie, we did a survey early on, and it was part of the Mask Up Arkansas initiative that we worked with all of you as well on. And one of the things that that survey revealed was during this time, top 2 things that people wanted from restaurants were safety and local. And so, so how's that shaping up in Fayetteville, and what are some of the regional things that you're plugging into or hoping continue to go positively?
Yeah, thanks, Amy. A lot like what Kalene has already expressed, we really shifted our focus into how do we always thought of ourselves as cheerleaders for the hospitality industry, but how do we really be a resource for just those basic needs? We designed stickers for restaurants, encouraging mask wearing. This was prior to the ordinance coming in, the ordinance, and then quickly followed by the statute that made it law, but try to encourage mask wearing. Spent some money on social media trying to promote and remind people to dine out and do takeout. Now that restaurants are open, I don't at all want to minimize the pain that so many restaurants are still feeling, because it is very real. So I want to make sure that as I talk about things being better and getting better, I want to be really, really explicit that our restaurants are still in trouble in many ways and they're still hurting. But whereas earlier in the year we were Kalene and I would hear these things nationally, and we would, read these stories about being down 60, 70, 80%. I mean, just decimating the restaurant industry. And we were really, really terrified. So whereas, our July numbers, our restaurants are down 20. That's still a very real percentage drop in what it was like in, this month last year. And yet it isn't as bad as we feared it would be. And so several of our restaurants are doing it as well as they can, and are glad that they're able to be open with the restrictions that are in place. I want to talk for just a minute, if I can, Amy, about hotels. One of the things that Fayetteville, like Bentonville, receives tax dollars from both hotel stays and prepared food, both hotels and restaurants. And in Fayetteville, at least, the amount of HMR tax we receive from the restaurants is far greater than what we receive from the hotels on paper. However, what people miss, and what I really want to make sure that people understand, is that while more dollars may come through the restaurants, that is true, so many of those dollars are driven by those hotel stays. So yes, many of our restaurants are supported by local people. Like my husband and I, we go out and eat locally, as do people that live here. And yet everybody that's staying in a hotel is getting their food from a restaurant. So when you have a drop in the hotel revenue and the hotel occupancy, there is a relationship there where you also have a drop in restaurants. So when the hotels are down, we're all down. It hurts all of us. And so I think that's just sometimes people can forget that when they say, oh, well, it's mainly funded for restaurants. Well, yes, but who's eating at those restaurants, right? It's your tourists.
Yeah.
And so
well, let's dive into that a little bit and how that shifts, because as an economy, we're all in certain cycles. In Northwest Arkansas, we're coming up on the football cycle that will change. We have the AMP, which is the concert cycle, which of course was this summer, and some of those other things that you depend on to attract people to the region and attract people in. So one of the things I hear you saying is that restaurants, it was about safety and local and eating local. And now we're it's still about safety. At the same time, it's about bringing people in and helping them feel safe and coming here and staying here. So that seems like it's the next it's the next topic, it's the next concentration effort. So so what can people do, and how can we help support the region in that, and what do you see being able to support that?
Well, I think, and I love what Mollie said about the dollars that come from our hotels and impacting our restaurants. What I say this all the time, those are new dollars to our community. Those are not dollars that are turned over in our community. These are new dollars that help us invest back into our community to support those marketing efforts or support the town center and impacting the community. For us, it's investing back into our community and our parks and our tourism amenities. So those are huge amounts of dollars for us. And I think the number one thing for our hotels is, because we are such a corporate driven region, because we have, Walmart, Tyson Foods and JB Hunt, right now they're not traveling. So we are really having to focus a lot more on that leisure audience that usually travels just weekends, where our weekdays were always our bonuses, I always used to say. But now we have to look at ways that we can enhance our leisures. And, of course, all of our cities in the region are very arts and trails focused. So those are two big initiatives for us. But I think it's inviting your family and friends into our community. And, we love our family and our friends, but let's have them stay at a hotel to help us out,
Less cleaning for me.
Yeah, we love them, but we don't love them that much. So come on. So it's even better for them staying in the hotels and stuff, that you get their own time. It's just perfect.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that, just real quick on this, and you said it, is that one of the big things that we need to really make initiative is talking to our hotels about being safe. 86% of the people looking for travel are putting down that they have to feel that it's safe and clean. So 86% of people traveling are looking for that safe and clean environment. How do we tell that story to the people outside of our world? We need to make sure that we're doing that on a regular basis and letting our visitors know, if it's through advertising or just telling that story in some way. So I do think that's a huge initiative for us.
Well, and it's easy because it's factual information. It's factual. I mean, it seems like everything is bumped up, and like we had talked about earlier, the innovation and people kind of thinking out of the boxes. The hotels and the restaurants are leading the way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They are.
Well,
I would say we erase the box.
I guarantee you that a hotel is cleaning better than I am at home. So
absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit, just as we, before we close out, talk a little bit about why we are inviting our family and friends to come here, because it's a tourist spot and destination. So can you talk about what is happening in the region? Mollie, I know Clinton House Museum is in the region. We've got Crystal Bridges up in the Bentonville area. What, and the trail system, what is it that we should be advertising and promoting for people to come and do that is safe and open? Because I think a lot of people just assume everything's shut down, and that's not the truth. So tell us about that.
This is a phenomenal, Fayetteville, because that's what, that's my job, and that's my, this is my favorite. Fayetteville is my favorite place in the region, so I'm gonna focus on it. But so much of it applies to our region as a whole. But Fayetteville is the perfect place to come and spend a weekend and get a quick getaway. We've all been in our homes. We've all been. There is only. I love meeting with you ladies. It is the highlight of my day. But there's only so much Zoom that one can take, and so we need to get outdoors. And Fayetteville is where you can do that. We have an abundance of local restaurants, but we also have quite a few chains. If you have a favorite place that you like to eat, that you want that consistency, we have that as well. Right on, just an incredible trail system. Whether you like to ride on the road or whether you're a mountain biker, Fayetteville is the perfect place to do it. The spots along the Fayetteville Ale Trail, which expands into Fayetteville and beyond, are all open. So if you want to go visit our craft breweries and do a tour that way, it's a great place to go. And so we have several itineraries on our website. I also want to plug, if exploring Fayetteville on a motorcycle there are a few better ways to see Fayetteville than in the surrounding area as on the back of a motorcycle. So it's a great time in the Ozarks as we approach fall to come and stay in Fayetteville and take several rides out of the region and see it that way. So
well, and Mollie too. I mean, we have not driven down through Dixon without it being just a celebratory feel with people walking everywhere. So just the new ordinance and stuff has been so amazing to see.
Yes, yes. So what Chris is referring to is the entertainment district ordinance. So Fayetteville has an outdoor refreshment area. So in our downtown areas, you are able to responsibly purchase an alcoholic beverage of your choice, and as long as it is in the appropriate cup provided to you by the restaurant. I want to be clear, this is not a bring your own situation. You can't bring in your alcohol from home, but you can come and buy it at a restaurant in that district and then walk around with it. Hopefully that's after you've parked your motorcycle and are in for the night.
Or scooter. Can you park the scooters too?
or park the scooter, yes. So still be responsible and have a designated driver or plan to just explore the rest of the night on foot. So.
It's fantastic. Kalene, what can we look forward to up and down the, up north?
Yeah, well, I think Mollie hit a lot of things that, of course, are benefits to us, but, of course, the arts is such a big bonus for us, and Crystal Bridges and the Momentary have done a really good job of, where they do a timed ticket so you can spend time in there, and they limit the number of people so you can feel safe when you're in there. They've created some really amazing outdoor experiences, bites, beers, and bocce ball over the weekends. Momentary. It is awesome. And so we're looking at those kind of experiences. And then, of course, I don't know if you guys know that Ansel Adams is going to be one of their exhibitions at Crystal Bridges. So one of the most famous photographers in the United States, in America, I guess I should say. But it is really one of those experiences that they're really doing. They're continuing to do business in a wonderful way and making the experience still a positive experience. And, I can't go without saying the trails with the mountain biking and even our paved trail that connects all of our cities. What I love about our trail system is that people don't understand that they're in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bella Vista. They're there to ride. So we're erasing the lines, and how do we promote each of our cities and be all together in this area that they don't understand that you're in Bentonville when you're riding in Bella Vista or whatever. They don't care about that. So our focus is that we want to make sure that, thanks Amy, we want to make sure that they can, have that experience. We're up over 100% on our trail usage in the last 4 months. So we know people are coming, and our Airbnbs are up at this point too. Their percentage of occupancy is up at this point. So we know people are coming here to ride and experience our communities, and we want to continue to see that happening. And I think leisure is the direction we have to go in for the next few months.
I love that. So tell us where everybody can find you. All the hashtags and the ats and websites and all of those things where people can find each of you, so we can follow and get some more great ideas of how to share our region.
So online we are at experiencefayetteville.com. On Instagram we are at Fayetteville AR, and on Facebook we are at Experience Fayetteville. Excellent. And on Twitter, I'll tell you in just a minute. Kalene can go, and then I'll weigh back in when it comes out Twitter.
We are visitbentonville.com and Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and also Instagram. It's visitbentonville.com. So you can get all of those from that experience, from that aspect.
And our Twitter is at EXP Fayetteville. So EXP for Experience Fayetteville.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you if you're a listener or a viewer. If you have a suggested topic, a question that you need answered, someone you'd like to hear from, or a story you'd like to share, please contact us at bizhelp@uark.edu. That's BUSHELP@uark.edu, and put TV in the subject line. If you're interested in benefiting from our free one-on-one consulting assistance, please sign up at sbtdc.uark.edu. Thank you for being here so much, ladies. We appreciate all of the work that you do on behalf of all of us. We'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.